Hi, once again, I'm Kumar from Cherry Academy and Learn with Kumar. And today, my presentation is for the CIMA students who are sitting for the strategic case study exam in August 2021. And the case study we know is all about airport company, ARRFIELD. So I want to make a presentation on the industry analysis. In our blueprint, the industry analysis is something which we need to do just to get an idea of, or rather, it will direct us to the type of questions that may come up, because when we know the airport industry very well, it will help you to write a good answer. So with that in mind, I want to make a presentation on industry analysis, and I hope this will be something which is going to be useful to you, every one of you, and let's hope that it will make some useful notes for you. So it's all about ARRFIELD company, industry analysis, and we know that the airport industry is a sort of something, it's a very different, unique industry. It needs large space, of course, lot of investment in property, terminals, aprons, bridges, all kinds of things, taxi bridges, airport control centers, towers, passenger facilities. So large investment. Generally, it's a very, very long payback period, much more than 20 years kind of thing we'll be looking at. A very steady industry. It might go through certain economic shocks, like what we are experiencing at this moment of time, the COVID-19 or September 11th incident, what we saw in 2011, I think. But what we can see is, despite all that, the airport industry is an industry which will never die. We have seen in our life so many industries dying. For example, the film roll industry has gone for a natural death. No more film rolls being printed, that kind of thing. But airport industry will remain, because airport is the gateway to the economy of any country. So the people who invest in these companies are looking for long-term returns, very stable returns. So you should know this industry very well if you have to think of answering some questions in the case study of August 2021. So same precinct for May 2021. So you all do have an advantage. So let's capture that advantage all the time. So this is an industry that is driven by globalization and privatization. Even our company, ARRFIELD, it started this company in 1981 with the globalization, with the privatization of the airports. Airports up to 1981 almost owned by the state. But now they are basically the industry's been privatized, globalized, and whenever we have two or more airports operated at the international or multinational level, that's what we call the global industry. So ARRFIELD, we had three countries we operate in, 6 airports we operate in, 4 in our home country and 2 in other countries. So it's basically a good business model, very steady business model. If you are looking for short-term returns, airport industry is not the industry for you to invest. So most of your investors will come from pension funds, fund managers, who are looking for very, very steady, strong investments. The aviation industry, we know, is a leader in development and innovation. If you look at the past 5 years, how much the airport industry has developed, and also how much it will develop in the next 5 years, I suppose we can only imagine, but I do not know. It may be totally different, the airport, what we see today, from what we will see probably in 5 years' time. They're talking about mini city airports. It's not really just people wanting to travel and do that kind of thing. They might want to go and spend a weekend in an airport, inside the airport compound, in an hotel. That's a kind of thing. So the ecosystem, which comprised of all the players, so there are a wide variety of players in the airport ecosystem, airlines, airport, passengers, then the tenants of those shopping complexes, etc., suppliers of fuel and all that kind of thing. And after the government is very much interested in the airport, because even though the governments may privatize the airports, it's a very, very vital arm of their economic development, because without airport, no country can sustain, no country can survive. And therefore the airport is such a vital arm of the industry. So airport has been a primary point of service delivery for travelers undertaking a total trip, which encompasses a wide variety of stages from booking to destination. Today, we can see people using the mobile phone to do your booking, everything. So airport industry need to link up with the mobile telephone industry. Possible scenario of an acquisition of a mobile company by ARRFIELD is on the card in one of the variants probably. So every player in the airport ecosystem must re-examine exactly what tomorrow's travel will demand. Surely safety and convenience is two things that travelers will demand. Safety, we need it because we know airports are very vulnerable for kinds of attacks from the terrorists and all that. So safety, we need it, but at a convenience. You probably don't want to go through that hassle of removing shoes and belts and all that kind of thing. If they can find some smart security devices to facial recognition, a kind of thing, that may be the area that we will be looking in airport as a passenger. And that's what probably the airlines will look at, because the airlines will depend on the airports to provide that kind of facility. So probably company ARRFIELD, there may be a lot of investments that you require. So this is what I want to talk about. Once again, I'm Kumar from Sri Lanka, and this is about our industry, but the industry what we are talking about today is all about the airport industry, and we should be looking in terms of working out some numbers in this area today and trying to build up some material for our exam case study in the days to come. Right. So if you need any assistance, you can contact me always on +94 77 321 937. Sorry, I'm going to put up the number here. +94 77 321 9387. You can get me on WhatsApp, or you can contact me on email, Cherry Academy. lk@gmail.com. You can contact me for any assistance, because this is your final exam, August 2021. Your final hurdle. Once you get through this, you're going to be in a different world altogether once you become a CGMA member. So therefore, put your best effort. Today, I'm recording this on the 12th, on the 11th of July. You have about another 1 month or more to do this case study. So if you need any assistance, if you need any online tuition, I can provide it at very affordable rates. If you need any free assistance, even then you can contact me at any moment of time. If you need one-to-one Zoom lessons at very affordable rates, you can get me at 9477 321 9387. Thank you very much. So this is an industry that will have a massive impact with the environment. So we should be looking in terms of fiscal, economic, social, technological, environment, and legislative. So when you're answering your answer script, always try to bring these things, models. You don't need to explain the model. but try to talk about the model, and that will give you marks which can make you. I don't want you to remain at 78 because you need only 80 marks out of 150 to pass. Don't get 78 and 79, get 80. That's enough. If you can get 110, 115, like some of my students, that's a good thing. But we need to get through this exam with 80 marks. Don't get stuck at 79. You can pass through that bridge by putting some of these models like PESTEL. Just don't try to go and describe the PESTEL model. Just apply the PESTEL model. You can say this, the environmental factor of, say, for example, the noise pollution is something which we can analyze through the PESTEL. Something like that, that's enough. Talk about the CIMA code of ethics. Wherever it applies, I mean, not irrelevantly, apply the CIMA code of ethics. Apply the Mendel's matrix wherever it's relevant. Bring the suitability, acceptability, feasibility whenever you are doing evaluation. Just bring those things and you will get marks. So this is what I want to encourage every one of you. Right. So there are multi-product services in an airport, passenger services, charter flights, scheduled flights, short flights, long flights, general cargo, freight mail, corporate taxis, corporate jets, air taxis, flight training, military movements, VIP flights. I mean, a very vital segment of the society in any corner. So that's what I said, airports can be shut down or can go through a temporary economic slowdown. But the airport industry will never die. That's why it has a very, very long payback period. Sometimes it might go over 20, 22 years. This is what I did in business valuation. I said the EBITDA times 22 times maybe the valuation which we will be looking at for an airport industry. So the ownership, if you look at now, after 1981, there have been a lot of privatizations happening. So it's a mix of private sector, public sector, active market for corporate control. There are a lot of airports, not lot, I mean few airports always available for sale, which you need to target and take over, because remember our vision. I want you to remember our vision all the time. Whenever we are answering these strategic case study questions, never forget the vision of our company. And because we know our company's vision is to be the world's best airport company. So we should never miss that vision and the mission and those value statements. So every time whenever you are writing an answer, I don't mind even suggesting you to memorize the vision and the value statements at least, because that only will give you the vision to write a good answer. So ARRFIELD's vision is to be the world's best airport company. So obviously they need to go for more acquisitions, because they are right at the moment only 3 countries, 6 airports. That's not good enough. They need to go for it, but it's not a rapid kind of a innovation that you can do, because not a rapid kind of expansion you can do. For last 40 years, we have got only 6 airports. So it's a slow mission. So the mission is to create sustainable growth in shareholder wealth while respecting the needs of other stakeholders, particularly staff, passengers, customers, and the community. Safety and security, we can't compromise. Delivering in promises, we can't compromise. Excellence in whatever we do. Always learning, always trying to correct ourselves, and we can have that attitude. We can do that. Even a CIMA student, always we must have that CIMA blueprint says, I can excel. That's what it is all about in our field, and that is what we should look at. Helps to drive productivity, productive efficiency. It will increasingly depend on new revenue models. Now we know generally, even in our company, I think it's about 40% from non-aeronautical revenue, 56% from aeronautical revenue. I mean, the aeronautical revenue percentage-wise, it should come down, and the non-aeronautical should keep on going up. So this is why we are thinking of mini city airports, People may not even want to fly, but people will want to come with their families and spend 2 or 3 days inside the airport compound, enjoying a hotel facility with swimming pool and all that. Probably one little small trip on a domestic kind of situation. This is what the airports will be in another 5-10 years time, maybe not too long. We might see this kind of thing. People coming to airport not only for flights, but even to enjoy their life. So all these things are possible things what we can see. Will evolve to become more operationally efficient, secure, engaging, and environmentally responsible. Now, those are the things that you as the senior manager finance should be conscious whenever we are talking about investments, because strategically the 3 decisions are investments, financing, and dividend decision. So you are the key person to advise the company on investments. So environmentally responsible investments is something we should be looking at all the time, secure, all that kind of thing. Okay. The nature of the airport business changed vastly over the last 4 decades. After 81, traditionally they were basic transport infrastructure. But today we can see so much of things happening in an airport. You go to an airport to buy your stuff, duty-free stuff. All that is there. You need parking. So aeronautical revenue was traditionally the most important source. Still it is so, but now we can see gradually the other sources of revenue, what we call non-aeronautical revenues, are expanding, and expanding. And you know what happens? When you keep on doing that non-aeronautical part increasing, you can reduce your aeronautical charges. That can make the airlines to fly into your airport because you will be a cheap airport for them to fly in. And what will that mean? That will mean more passengers will come to your airport. What will that mean? That means there will be more shopping. So you will be earning from other revenue streams, and you can be very, very competitive with the other airport companies because we can provide airport services to the airlines at cheaper rates because we have other sources of income. So this is where your direction, strategic direction should be. So fundamental changes have happened over the recent decades. 700 airports face private sector participation. Almost 1/2 of global passenger traffic is now handled by airports with some kind of private sector. Now, our company, we own 6 airports, not necessarily that we need to own airports. We can manage airports on concessionary agreements kind of thing. Even the government-owned airports are mandated to operate as commercial entities. They are no longer service industry. They should generate real economic returns. So the government airports are also under pressure to bring commercial viability. And therefore, one way is to collaborate with private sector. So private-public partnership is a possible arrangement which you could be tested in our scenarios. And you can always sort of get company ARRFIELD to move into different areas of revenue streams, not only owning airports, even managing airports, and even providing consultancy services. Because we have 40 years of super experience in the airport management, and we are managing some of the, we are owning one of the world's best airports, one of the top 5. So today airports are no longer merely providing infrastructure for airlines, but have evolved into sophisticated market entities, diversified revenue streams, which we call non-aeronautical or commercial revenue. Now, this is a very, very important area in our strategic case study and our investment-wise non-aeronautical thing. So it has become an integral parameter of airport's performance and of airport economy. So never underestimate the non-aeronautical part of it in the airport economy. So it represents a fundamentally important area for the airport community. So that is something which we should be developing. Indispensable to the evolving concept of passenger experience. Passenger wants convenience. Passenger wants safety. Passenger might want to come and spend some time in the airport, reading a book, have a good business launch with Wi-Fi and all kinds of technology available. Passengers will be looking for all these things from you. Airlines will be looking for these air bridges, etc., to make the passenger more convenient. They will prefer to land in your airport than in some other airport. Airport industry is becoming very competitive nowadays, and therefore we need to be having that competitive edge by differentiation. So it's about 40% of the overall structure. Per passenger basis, about $7 US per passenger, and it's estimated over 17 billion US dollars so worldwide. So where is this non-aeronautical revenue comes? From retail concessions, you have your shopping complexes duty-free, you get a commission from those sales, car parking, car rentals, food and beverage, advertising, real estate rentals, your boards, advertising, all that can make a huge impact upon your revenue streams. So it's not only just a question of getting airlines to come into your place. When you have these facilities, airlines will be compelled to land in your airport because the passengers will prefer to be at one of the ARRFIELD airport compared to some other companies' airports. So May 2021 tracing, which is the August 2021 tracing, basically it says they are set in a context where COVID-19 has not had an impact. However, they say relevant reference to the pandemic or social distance will be marked on their merits. So even though we may not be directly tested on COVID-19, they might put something indirectly like sort of some kind of sickness and where we need to maintain social distancing, etc. So what kind of safety measures, additional investments that you might have to do it. But simply, I mean, the examiner is very clear this time. He says that there is sort of, you must assume that there is no restriction on the movement of people, goods or services in its place. So the 2020 has posed a very existential threat to the airport industry with so much of reduction because most of the airports are closed until recent dates. So the Airport Council International recovery trajectory will be slow and challenging. So maybe they might not refer to COVID-19, but they might refer to some kind of a setback where the recovery process could be slow, but will be challenging. So how we are going to help them? You are basically at senior manager finance in a strategic level, you are a problem solver. That's what you need to be. And this is what which is expected of us. World's airports are looking beyond the current crisis. We have seen airports facing a lot of crises, but they have come out of it within 3 to 4 years. In fact, they have come much more stronger than what they were earlier. So I'm sure after COVID-19, more people will be traveling and there will be the airports will come up with a boom kind of a situation. So we need to look at the non-aeronautical side of business to a new level because we need to attract people to come and enjoy the airport environment. Why not? The people have all the facilities. They might come one day earlier and stay there in the airport hotel, inside the airport compound. They might go to a gym, enjoy a little bit of gym before setting into the flight. So all these things are possible things what we need to look at. Shopping. I'm sure many ladies will come there to the airport to do the shopping. Their perfumes and all that kind of thing. What about the gents? So on our airports, non-aeronautical revenue and activities. So It's a platform. So I'm sure a company like ARRFIELD should be in a platform like this, because your ecosystem, we need to be collaborative system. We need to work with other member airlines, other member airports. So it's a good membership for you to have it and to work through the open forums, brainstorming, investigating, analyzing, risk management processes, etc. What is the future airport models? In few years, the airport environment will be unrecognizable. I mean, look at the airports 5 years back, 10 years back, and look at today. What changes it has gone through? And look at the airport like Singapore Changi Airport. So much of things. In fact, they are advertising, I saw in one of the sites, they're advertising their washrooms. The washrooms are fantastic. I mean, airport washroom is something people will want to use it. They are capitalizing, they are advertising that one with different shapes of washrooms. We will see mini airport destinations, which are completely self-sufficient, maybe bus stations offering services kind of thing, train services. Revenue will increasingly come from non-aeronautical sources, with profit shared among the service providers and airlines who drive passenger footfall. So we can reduce the charges from the airline, which will make airlines more attractive. In Sri Lanka, we have one airport, which is not hardly being used, but it's state-owned. The state has decided to make it the aeronautical charges zero, so that the flights will come. And obviously the ticket will be less costly, because the airline need not charge to the passenger, airport landing charges, etc. And what could be the strategy? When the airlines gives that kind of cheap ticket, there will be many more passengers flying to that airport. And what could be the benefit for the airport? Well, when the people come, they will have more money for shopping. Have your shopping centers super. Your aeronautical income will be zero, but your non-aeronautical income can double up, triple up. And today we know the obvious target channel is the passengers' mobile service. Sometimes we don't have the sort of idea to upgrade the ticket to be subscribed. But when we get some kind of notices in your mobile phone, you feel like doing it. And that moment you do it, and you upgrade your ticket, which will bring benefit to the industry. So that's what, you have to connect with your passengers' mobile devices. So I'm not surprised if they say that they want to, ARRFIELD want to acquire a mobile operator company. Do you think it's a strategic fit? I think it's a strategic fit when you apply Johnston scores, Whittington, suitability, acceptability, feasibility model. You need to have vast volumes of customer information. So you need to work with IT partnerships. IT partners will be required. So this is where I think our company needs more into the IT, because I think we don't have a fully at the board level IT representation kind of thing. IT will be a very important area for our company. And IT security, cyber security features is so important, because I think at the moment IT is handled by Chief CFO, Romeo, but in time to come, IT is going to be such an important thing. Airports, even at this moment, totally IT dependent. So cyber security risks are there. And tomorrow's airport will be a complex environment with the passenger at its heart. So remember, it's a passenger at its heart. Collaboration is your lifeblood, and innovation is your currency. I want you all to write something like this in your answer script. Make it very appropriate and write it. Your examiner will find it very difficult to fail you from passing CIMA findings. Airport ownerships and operations. So we know that the airports, we do have airports operating, private airports, state-owned airports, and then we have fully privatized airports also, collaborated airports. So that the airport industry itself is shaping up into a new landscape with lot of privatization. As I said, almost 50% of global traffic is now handled by some or other private sector participation. So I put up some other things in Pakistan situation, US situation, Canada. It's all about the divested itself all. So different ownership models. So private public partnership model could be tested in this case scenario. What are the strategic considerations? State is a prime investor in the airport industry for a long time, but with privatization happening, with the ecosystem changing, in next 10 to 20 years, the landscape may be a totally different thing. How do local politicians understand? Still, there are a lot of fear about this airport privatization. I mean, not surprisingly, because if you don't do the privatization rightly, it can create havoc in a country. But on the other hand, privatization can bring a lot of benefits to the country. So the politicians may be fearing that one. You, as senior manager finance of a leading company of airport industry ARRFIELD, you and your board of directors can dispel those fears by showing how good you can manage, what benefits it can bring. So maybe a case study is something like this, that a certain country is thinking of privatization, but they are in fear. And they might ask you, how can you sort of convince them that the privatization is a better model? So maybe investment, maybe the revenue streams, maybe employment generation. So like that, we should be able to do it. And of course, the airport is very close to the heart of the economy. They say in UK, for example, if the GDP growth is something, it is 2 times the airport traffic growth. So it's directly connected to the economic development. In a country where there is very little economic development, airports also will be just another space. There are no passengers. But where the economy is a busy economy, growing economy, airports will be keep on growing at double the pace of the GDP. This is what the studies have shown. So revenue comes from aeronautical, in our case 56%, 40% non-aeronautical and non-operating revenue, 4%. That is the present structure. This should keep on changing and non-aeronautical should keep on rising up. So aeronautical revenues, we know it is the airline rents, landing, passenger services, parking and hangar fees, etc. So this is what we are getting from the airlines, in form of the airlines will charge the customer with the ticket, the money, and that part of the money will be paid back to the airlines, back to the airport company like ARRFIELD, in form of all these provide services, what they are providing, landing fees, passenger services, etc. Non-aeronautical revenue is so vast, like leasing facilities, retail concession sales, car operations, advertising. I mean, look at the airport. How much of advertisements are there in an airport? Why not? Because people are spending a lot of time in an airport. And just after the trip, you are in a different mood. You want to buy a perfume bottle to your wife or maybe to your girlfriend, right? So you are in a different mood and you are not thinking at that time the purse and the balance in that thing. Today with the credit cards, people will go on a spend trip. May not sound ethical, but that's business. That's all right. Bookstores, restaurants, money markets, money exchange, everything is so much of revenue sources for an airport company. We saw in 19 globalization of airports. Accelerated globalization have resulted in increasing integration of local and national economies into a global market. We know we are living in a global market today. Your financial risk says economic risk should be managed by diversification. So we see a growth in international trade, finance, import, exports, all that. So in this kind of context, airport operators should start looking for ways to enlarge and diversify portfolios beyond their traditional national boundary. So this is why I say our company wanting to be the world's best airport, we should be looking for more positions in the days to come. But you need to be mindful as the finance manager, your cash flow forecast is so important because they are long-term investments. I hope I can, if I had time, I'm going to do something on funding sources very soon and hope that too will be helpful for you all. So once again, I'm Kumar. If you need any tuition, even for this August exam, you can contact me on +9477 321 9387. I'm FCMA with 15 years of online tutoring experience. I started with INSAF Business School, and then now I do it my own with Cherry Academy and Learn with Kumar. You can visit my Facebook page, Learn with Kumar or Cherry Academy, and you will see some of these slides there and some important topics being covered up. And if you need any tuition, online tuition at very affordable rates, maybe $15 per hour upwards, I can provide individual tuition for any one of you if you are interested, even for this case study. We'll do mocks. I'll correct your mocks and give you reviews, feedbacks, so that you can never fail exam with Learn with Kumar or Cherry Academy. So in 1980s, airports started privatization. So we are one of the pioneer companies. Our company was incorporated, I think, 1980 or 1981, ARRFIELD. So we can see they are now, not only we are positioned for internationalization by bidding, for outright purchases, even for management contracts, concessions, equity stakes, we can do all that. So we don't need to carry out the present model of acquiring airports. We can manage airports. We can go on a concession basis. We can do consultancy work. All that is possible with our reputation of 40 years of good reputation. Privatization facilitated international expansion for the airport companies. First, the newly established corporates or private European airports operators got more freedom and flexibility. It's not a question of prestige nowadays of international operations, but how we can move to go beyond boundaries to ensure that we don't get restricted to domestic growth only. So look at like our company, we are in 3 countries, but maybe we want to go into more countries if we want to be the world's best airport. So the other one is where people wanted, like African countries, where they wanted expertise, airport management expertise. So a company like ours, which has acquired credibility and reputation. So very important, my dear students, we maintain our reputation. So in P3, we have a subject called reputational risk. We must not get trapped to do anything just for sake of few dollars, millions of dollars even, anything unethical, because our reputation matters so much in an industry like airport. Long-term investments, people are looking to with you for over 20, 30 years kind of relationships, and therefore your reputation is number 1, reputation is number 2, reputation is number 3, ethics is number 1, ethics is number 2, ethics is number 3. So remember CIMA Code of Ethics? CIMA Code of Ethics was upgraded in this January 2020. So just try to go through this new 2020, same 5 principles: integrity, objectivity, professional duty and competency, professional behavior, and confidentiality. But it has been given a digital flavor. Even before the COVID-19, CIMA thought about digitalization, and it has given digital flavor. And I encourage you to read the CIMA 2020, January 2020 updated Code of Ethics. These are the things that can make your answer different from the answers of all the rest of the students who they answer. So internationalization, a process of increasing involvement of enterprises in international market. So with your technological, economical, socio-cultural, political forces, you can go into projects, even do consultancy projects, short-term management contracts. All this is possible. So don't be thinking in terms of acquiring. You might not be able to acquire many airports because they are large investments. So 6 years we have done only 40 years we have done only 6 in the airports. We might have to think of a different strategy. If you want to become the world's best airport company, go into consultancy, go into short-term management, and maybe you can go for full diverse also. Right. The concession model, especially the build, operate, transfer, what we call BOT, is a form which we can work it out and effectively carry out the ARRFIELD's mission of sustainable wealth creation. So we can say airport companies may see distinct advantages in expanding internationally. So we are in 3 countries, may not be enough. We might have to go into many other countries, and acquiring airports outside is a natural progression of the growth and development in the home country. But we need to be mindful of political risk, currency risk, and we need to be doing proper due diligence, all that before we go into, because these are irreversible long-term investments. So these are the industry specifics. It's not like a mobile telephone industry where the life period of the project may be 3 years. Here you are looking 20 and 20 years beyond kind of investment. So your investment need to be properly evaluated, applied Johnson scores with intent, suitability, acceptability, feasibility model. You need to do a proper due diligence and come into very carefully thought decisions. Of course, you need to take certain risks, but taking risks, you need to be mindful. It's something where you cannot go wrong. So this is where your professional competency and due care will come very handy for the board of ARRFIELD. Through internationalization, you can create that portfolio of diversification, because not that all the economies suffer at the same time. Some economies will do well, some economies do badly. So if we have diversified your portfolio to different countries of airports, even in one country, if the things are not going well, the other country it will do well, and it will sort of give you a smoothing effect. So global population, we need to think in, when you are thinking in terms of expanding, we need to look at where there is traffic. So traffic is there where there is population growth. So Europe is predicted to have the lowest population growth. So I'm not anti-Europe, but when you are making strategic investments, we need to look at 20 years ahead. Where is our growth going to be? So the growth is mostly in Asian economies and in South African economy. So in Travel Gold Rush 2020, they say, suggest looking forward, Asia could account for 1/3, 32% of global travel spend, up from only 21% in 2010. That's a growing economy. So if you're going for new investments, ARRFIELD, try to look at the Asia as a potential target against the Europe. The European markets are somewhat already overgrown. No more population increases. So you need to look at from those angles also when we are looking in for expansion. As I said, mobile systems. So this in 2011, 20 years back, they estimated 85% had mobile coverage and 1 billion had broadband access. I'm sure these numbers would have even gone beyond what was predicted. I think almost everyone has a mobile phone today. And the broadband access all over. So potential for airlines and airports to commercialize or monetize in the mobile channel would come from the purchase of additional goods and services. Pre-flight upgrades will be favored by a number of passengers. So I've been keeping stressing the importance of ARRFIELD having a mobile company to support them, which can be a massive complementary resource that you need to have it. Right. We need to be mindful of social media. Today, most of the people, we don't go to the old travel agent. We can buy our ticket via website. So you need to have a good website done. That is for the airlines mostly. But the airports need to have also their websites giving flight details, all that kind of thing. People don't want to come and spend unnecessary long time in the airports. Any delays or changes in the flight schedules, you can inform through the mobile phone. These are the things that can make customer satisfaction. Today, no business will sustain and survive without customer satisfaction. So social media is clearly acknowledged as a vital mechanism for real-time exchange of ideas, information, feedback between passengers and those that serve them in the airport environment. Technology, how will it embrace? Security is the important thing. Biometrics, genetic profiling, so that you don't need to remove your belt and the shoes. Through the security scan, you can go and your biometrics will identify whether you are a terrorist or not. Smart security devices. People will be looking for this kind of things. With this COVID-19 spreading, you might want to have some kind of a scanner where it will just pass you through and say whether you have positive COVID or not, or whatever, so that the people can, go easily without going through this big process of all kinds of things. I know today at some airports, people are stopped because they don't have their PCR covered up for 72 hours and all that kind of things. Not easy. But if we can find devices, as you enter, we can see whether this person has a history of COVID or whatever. Everything is in your profile, in your database. So you can work it through very hard on this area. This is what can give you that extra competitive advantage over other companies. Big data is so important for this industry. So the challenge is to create new tool sets which will enable us to manage and manipulate these large data sets, of course, protect the data sets and use this information to exploit the big data, to enhance our revenue schemes, all that, the patterns of traveling, everything can be so important. So this is what the industry analysis, what I've done for you. I've sort of deviated from many others, but I've done something very specific for the industry, and I hope this is going to be very useful for all of you. Environmental factors, we know that things like oil price volatility, the noise pollution, all that, runaways, regulatory interventions can become factors which we need to consider, particularly if you are going for a new work position. Look at these regulatory factors and environmental factors. How disturbed your neighborhood because of the runaways, flights taking off, landing off, So these are things that we need to be carefully monitoring all the time, because when a flight is being taken off, it goes at full power, noise is too heavy. When it's coming down, of course, it might come up on the neutral, but going up, it comes. So that's why sometimes they change the runway morning from this end to the other end landing, and the evening it is from this end to the other end landing kind of thing, because they need to keep the community undisturbed, disturbed to the minimal extent. Legislative factors. So there are these alliances that is coming up, and they believe that alliances can subsume member allies and this kind of thing. So this is also something for the airport companies to know and understand, the importance of alliances, sometimes even much more important than with your own international airlines. But both are very important. Passenger perspectives. It's a passenger ultimately who will have the final say. It's a position of undisputed power. So almost every passenger is complaining about check-in, boarding. So if you can make your facilities much more enhanced, speed, simplicity, convenience, reliability, security, these are the things that they will look at. So where you as senior manager finance, where will you focus your investments in the next 5 years in company ARRFIELD? Remote check-in and bag collection. These are the things that the people complain all the time. So how can you help our company to get out of these things? Now, why I'm saying these things is because sometimes we as accountants, we look at from numbers, everything, but much more important to look at from a balanced scorecard point of view. Talk about the balanced scorecard, customer perspective, innovation and learning, internal business perspectives. Of course, the financial perspective is important. This is what we should be looking at. Security, surely. Security, we know it's a very significant stress for the passenger going through that, particularly with the small kids and all that. So we need to look at how we can minimize these security obstructions, what we look at. So on-screen arrival, and maybe when the passenger leaves home, there will be a mobile message coming to the airport saying so-and-so is coming. So we can keep those immigration lanes cleared for them. I mean, we have to come to a situation where we treat everyone as a VIP. At the moment today, only the VIPs are given those kind of things. But surely, if we can say every passenger is a VIP for our fee, that can make your revenue double. I want you to look at like that. I want you to think out of box and write something which is going to catch up the examiner's eye. And if you can catch up the examiner's eye, you can be a world prize winner. We have produced, Cherry Academy has produced world prize winners at strategic case study. And you can be one of those people if you can do it. So come to learn with Kumar. +9477 321 9387. Me and my staff, my academic staff, will help you to get through this exam and for you to become a CGMA. Carry those 4 letters, which will make a huge difference in your life. Read the CIMA Blueprint 2021-22. Read the pre-scene very well. Attempt many mocks. I don't care whose mocks are they. Attempt many mocks. Manage the time. 360-minute sections. Manage the time carefully. Do a good planned answer. Don't deviate. Be to the point. You can never fail the exam. I can assure you that if you come to me and study with me, learn with Kumar, we will give you that one. So for about $15 to $20 per an hour, we will provide one-to-one individual tuition with all these slides, recording, everything. You will never fail your exam. So these are some of the references that I given you for you to take it up and do it. So my dear friends, I just want to tell you today, you have another 6 weeks time. Put your best foot, do this exam very well, get through this exam. If you need support, please call me +94 77 321 9387. +94 77 321 9387 or cherryacademy@gmail.com. CHARRYACADEMYLK@gmail.com. cherryacademylk@gmail.com. So I wish every one of you great success in August exams. And if you need any support, please do call me. We will help you. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.